What's up, guys? This is What If Goku was like Yujiro? Now you might be thinking, what the fuck? They're polar opposites. Goku isn't a great dad, but he's not that shitty like Yujiro. Well, in this version he is. So, this all starts in the middle of Dragon Ball. Well, not the middle, but at the end. Whenever he's beating Piccolo, it's in that fight. Goku realizes something. Which, he's never been perfectly the way he was in canon. He was a lot meaner and a lot less happy to see people. But this is when he decided to beat the ever-loving fuck out of his, I guess you could say fiancé. When Chi-Chi tried hitting him, instead of just knocking her out with air pressure, he straight up fist fought. Like it was a straight up stalemate of not stopping. It was as bad as Popovich versus Vidal, but thing is, he stopped. When she had begged him to stop, he stopped one step in front of her and said, "You want to be the one to claim you could beat me. You wanted to win this and force me to marry you. I know of our promise, but I don't think you can keep up it if you can't even land a punch on my jaw." Fine, as she straight up kicked him right in the stones. He looks her eye to eye and says, "Are you sure that was a good idea?" As she hit him in the mouth, he said, "I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. You win. You will have my child." Huh? Chi-Chi saying, "Yes, yes, you'll be my husband." Not quite. "I'm not tying myself down, but I won't marry you, but you can have my kid. I will live with you as if we are married, but I will never put a ring on your finger. I will not declare vows, because I do not care. Am I understood?" Chi-Chi saying, "Yes, Goku." Good. As he basically said, "Now get out the ring." Why? Because I'm about to have to get into a fist fight with a guy who could probably beat your ass. And most likely mine. Wait, so does that mean, yes, I'm about to fist fight someone who can beat the shit out of both of us? But I'm gonna win. And he did. He beat Piccolo. Then, instead of getting married, they just wound up parking at Mount Paozu. And they got together, had Gohan. But in this version, he's a lot different than he was with Gohan. First day Gohan was born, they were wondering names. And they were gonna straight up try naming him something else. And Goku straight up said, his name is Gohan now. Huh? His name is Son Gohan. In remnants to my grandfather. That will be his name, and you're not stopping me. Oh, okay. Good, you're realizing things. Now, I give him 2 years. That's all he has. If he can't even throw a punch at me at that point, he is worthless. And after those 2 years, an event happened. He socked the shit out of Goku. Even though he only had a power level of 5? In this version, he doesn't just have the power level of 1. He has a power level of 5 when he's a baby. Goku's smiling. And when Gohan can walk, literally when he's only 1.5, Goku put him into training. Gave him his first gi. And they trained 1-to-1. And this is how it would go on. And one day, when Gohan was about 3, Goku took him out to the mountains. And the entirety of the Z-Warriors feel this power. Even Piccolo feels it. Goku's stronger than him. By far. Because Goku's been training with Gohan this whole time. And even Chi-Chi. Putting used to the fact Ox King is strong, so he had Chi-Chi and Ox King 2v1ing him while Gohan was watching. Oftentimes beating the shit out of Ox King. And in the end, he stands over all 3. Picks up Gohan and says, "Get strong for me. We will have our fight in years to come." Now, when he's 2, they're out in the mountains. Gohan actually said, "Let's go." As they thought it would just be a sparring match, but it wasn't. Goku straight up said, "Alright, I won't give you a full power, but I'll give you this." Going into his power, he had about 200. Putting 200 power level right out there to fight 1v1ing with his son. His son, who only has a power level of about 70, said, "Yes, father," and got in there. But Over the fight, Goku started insulting Chi-Chi. And then Chi-Chi did something unexpected. She was there, and Goku saw her trying to step in. And she's strong enough to 1v1 him because her power level is 200. So, Gohan was fighting someone equivalent to his mother. So, when Goku wasn't even powered up, he was equal to Chi-Chi. And Chi-Chi hit him in the mouth. Goku got angry, and his power level rose to 300, then up to 400, and then hitting its peak at 570. He looks eye to eye with his son and wife, and takes steps forward, like he is brutally pissed off. Chi-Chi realizes how outpowered she is, and tries apologizing to Goku. The Ox King, not being too far behind, gets there, and his power level at this point would be around 170. Or even if you wanted to claim it, 250. So 200, 250, and 70. Yeah, they're not winning this. They think they're going to be able to slow him down, but they can't even touch him. Sure, Chi-Chi and Ox King together, they're doing something, but they're not winning this. And then Gohan is only barely able to fight. This is when Goku did something unexpected. He actually hit Chi-Chi full force and sent her flying. Gohan didn't know what to think. He thought his mother was killed by his father. His anger started to peak. As you hear, increase. They're just roaring out. Goku looks back towards his son, whose power level rose to over 1,000. Punches him. Goku, stumbling back for a second, sneezes out blood. And looks eye to eye with his son and said, "Yes. Yes, a fight, a proper fight." The entire Z-Wars feels this power, but that's it. They feel that for a second, then it's gone. As Goku's power level starts to drop back down too, to around 200. Then he feels his friends coming, saying, "Chi-Chi, yes, go home. Take Gohan and Ox King with you." "Yes, Goku." Now he stays out in the mountains power, and he does training. The Z fighters get there asking what the fuck's going on. He said, "Light sparring, nothing major." Okay. This is when, surprisingly enough, they actually challenged him to a fight. Yamcha, at least. Tien and Krillin got up there too, all with power levels roughly in the 230 mark. Goku straight up said, "You're not strong enough for that," as he took one of the senzu beans out of his pocket and ate it, peeking up because he had just gotten his ass whooped. He was no longer at his 570. He reached and actually hit 700 and said, "Y'all sure you can win?" They said, yes we can. Let's go." He goes into a fight with them, and they said, "Wow." This is when Goku actually declares, "We'll meet up at this date at Kame House. Tell Roshi and Bulma." Okay. Good. I'll be back. I'll be there then. And I have a surprise for y'all. Okay. They left, and about a year rolls around. Or a little over a year. Because then Gohan's 4. But Gohan isn't as weak as he was in canon. His power level is 560. Goku's is 980. And Piccolo, who's been sensing this shit, is at the roughly 700 mark. And this is when weighted down. All the Z-Warriors get there, and their power levels all seem to ring out at about 710. Yes, they're stronger than Piccolo. But remember, they're not weighted clothing at this point. I mean, they are, but they're not in heavy weighted clothing. This is when they all walk in, and then they see Gohan, who's wearing weighted gear, looks at them, and they said, "Goku, you have a kid?" "Yes, I do." "What's his name?" Gohan straight up saying it right out loud. "My name is Gohan." "You're the Z fighters I've heard of. Let's spar." Surprising them when they laughed, saying, "Sure." They all got into fighting stances, and Gohan was actually weaker than them. Gohan didn't obey this, though. And when they all took their weighted clothing off, all of their powers spiked to 750, to 750, to 760 even, for, Tien. having 760. Then, surprisingly enough, Gohan dropped his and powered up truly. And a little bit of anger that he was losing strengthened him to the point where his power level reached about 850 as he was beating down on Yamcha, but stopped when Goku pulled him back. Enough, son. Yes, father. Both eating a sensu and standing there. This is when, surprisingly enough, Piccolo's sensing this, and he's only a little bit away. When they feel another power level, Goku with a smirk on his face, it's 1,400. It's Raditz. This power is closer to Goku's true power, which he hasn't even shown. Everyone's got their way to gear on him back down to their regular powers. Now, this is when they see Raditz pull up, sees Piccolo and says, "Wow, you're quite strong." Not my time, as he basically vanished. Then, they see another event that was not expected, when he leaves, and then looks eye to eye with Goku at the Kame house. Goku looked at his older brother and said, "So you're my older brother. You're pathetic, you know that?" "You dare call me pathetic?" "I do." When Goku can't match his brother in strength, this is when he said, "Hold on a second. Okay, brother, let's see what you have." Goku taking off his weighted clothing and dropping it. His power level spikes to 1,350. "You're still weaker than me, and you call me pathetic. What the fuck are you doing?" Goku powering up. Barely doing this, but he reaches 1,475. Raditz with a smirk on his face says, "Oh, so now you're my level. Let's go." They fought with Raditz showing a clear weaker sign, but he was slightly faster. But Goku's martial arts made up for the lack of speed. And in the end, Goku actually defeated his dear brother and looked down at him saying, "So we're Saiyans. You claim this. And yet you, raised as a Saiyan, can't even beat me raised as a human. Is that really your best brother? You bastard. No, I'm your brother. Now get off your ass. Besides, meet your nephew. A half-breed, my nephew. Pathetic." "Shut the fuck up. What? Our race isn't going extinct because none of you guys think half-breeds are good. Fuck you. Y'all want to keep saying pure breed Saiyans and all that shit? Then die off. But I'm not. My bloodline isn't. Or should I say, our bloodline, brother." This is when, surprisingly enough, they see something unexpected. Goku, looking down at his brother, lifts him up on his feet. "Nice armor. So what are you, a fucking pride trooper?" Not pride trooper. Fucking, Power Ranger? Close. Frieza Force soldier. Oh, a soldier. And you got your ass whooped by a martial artist. I know. Whatever. So tell me, as he turned off his scouter and sat down, "Look, we're trying to defeat Frieza and we need your strength to join. Gather the rest of the Saiyans." "Brother, we're not strong enough to make that demand." "What do you mean, we're not strong enough?" As he states how strong how strong Nappa is, and how strong Vegeta is. So 18,000 and 5,000. And you haven't trained to beat them. "No, I could never train to beat them. I can't." Bullshit. This is when they turned it on and looked, and they straight up said something that would probably piss Vegeta off. "Hey Vegeta, this is Kakarot, as you may know me as a Saiyan. I say, you are pathetic. The prince of all Saiyans underneath some emperor's boot. I claim this as my home, and you are not my prince. You're a waste of space, pretending to be a prince of a dead species." And now Raditz even agrees on that one. "So, come, correct me, prince, if you're all that." And hangs up and destroys the scouter. Right, saying, "You fool! You're getting me killed!" Am I, though? Am I? Yes! He's stronger than me in Ozaru form when he is in base form. True, I'll give you that. But we need to strengthen you where you're stronger than Ozaru. Why? How? First, Dragon Balls, please. Sure. They went to training. This is when Kami Strip tells them about King Kai. Hearing this, Goku has a smirk on his face. Let's whip you into shape, brother. You, Z-Warriors. Yes, Goku? Train my brother. Okay. And what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go visit this King Kai person. Goku makes it there pretty quick. A lot faster than in canon. They train for 5 months. At the end of those 5 months, Goku speed blitzes Stake away. And on base form, he's already got a power level of 10,000. And that's not even with Kaioken, that's just base strength. That's still holding back though. With his weighted clothing on, that King Kai made, with his power level weakening, so it wouldn't break everything around him, his power level already reached an astonishing 10,000. Goku made it back with a smirk in his face, as he looked down at his dear brother and saying, "How powerful are you now, brother?" 7,000. Strong enough to beat Nappa. I say, with your group, we may be able to beat them. I gave them a clear indication of how strong they were. We've all surpassed Nappa, except for Chaozu. What? Chaozu's saying, "Hey, you're not wrong." How strong is Nappa again? 5,000. How long do we have till they get there? Based off as far as their power level sense, which y'all have taught me to do, I'd say roughly about a week, about 2 days. Alright, Chaozu, what's your power level at? 4,500. Oh, we're fine. Huh? Come here, brother. Come here. Yeah? Let's go in here. What is this room? It's called the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. And they talked to Bulma about getting more gear, if they ever wanted to go with more people. Bulma said, "Sure, I don't mind." Cool. First, me and Raz need to go in there. This one I actually asked Kami, "Could you change the room of spirit and time?" Kami's saying, "Sure." But the max he could do is make it where you could not have a... They actually made a wish so there would never be a limit to how many days you could stay in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. That was a wish on the Dragon Balls at the beginning. Goku actually talked to King Kai about Gray growing his tail. And King Kai found something about it. If your tail's been removed, all you have to do is find that little snub that's left. Goku knows that there's one there. Just pull it on it as hard as you can. But stating that it would take days of pulling to do, Goku said, "How long do you think we have to do that?" "Well, maybe next time." "Sure." "Well, I mean, this place isn't afterlife or anything, so I can probably visit here whenever I feel like it, right?" "Yeah, possibly." "So, cool. I'll be back." Alright. As Goku would straight up vanish, he did training. This is when Vegeta and Nappa would arrive with someone else, because right when that happened, they stopped. And right next to the planet they were conquering at that point was Vegeta's brother, Tarbal. Tarbal said he want to join, but then Vegeta kind of forced him to by flexing his strength, and Tarbal showing that his power level is only 1,800, so about a tenth of Vegeta's. Even in Ozaru form, he's only equal to base form with Vegeta. Saying, "Fine, brother, let's go." They walk into this fight, ready for it. Tarbal scares the shit out of him. Goku looks at Gohan, whose power level was already in the 7,000, was actually in the 8,000 mark, saying, "Gohan, yes, father, kill him." Huh? I'm not going to say kill him. I'm kidding, Gohan. Aww. Gohan turning off his Masenko, but beat the shit out of him. Oh, and the bald one. Krillin says, wait, can't we fight them? Sure. This is when he straight up said, let's draw straws. Bald one, shorter one. The shorter one being Tarble. Alright. And the rest of them said nothing. And they did it. There was, surprisingly enough, for Goku, he got the one that straight up said, bald one. Alright. For Raditz, he got the one that said, shorter one. And Piccolo got the one that said short one. Meaning that, or actually it would say Widow's Peak for Vegeta. Goku straight up says, okay, let's go. Piccolo, knowing he's going to get his ass beat. Hey, could I get some help with this one? Sure, Piccolo, if you lose, someone else will jump in. Surprisingly enough, the first thing that happened was they all put the moon up. You know, the fake moon. They all looked up in the air, and they all powered up in their full Zara form. Goku looks eye to eye with all of them. Alright. Goku roaring out in strength, yelling Kaioken times 10, tearing his tail out of his back. Pulling it out where it's supposed to be, he has his tail back. That fucking hurt. Says, hey Gohan, are you okay? Where's your tail? Mr. Piccolo cut it off. Goku says, really, Mr. Piccolo? Yeah. Come here. Alright. As he ate his sensory himself, saying Kaioken times 10, tearing his son's tail out too. To where he has his tail back. Eating another sensory bean. Oh, that fucking hurt. Now. Come on. They all look at the moon. Raditz has better control than his nephew and brother. But Goku has far more anger in it. And in his Zara form, he yelled, Kaioken times 10. This making the 10 times power level to his base stats. Kind of making it more of a 15 times boost. I'm going to say that, like, multipliers stack. Not, like, multiplying each other. Now, this would make it where Goku looks eye to eye in power just under Vegeta. As he strengthens again, yelling Kaioken times 10. So he's straight up in his Zara form into Kaioken times 10. It's the strongest form he's ever made. It being more of a 20 times multiplier, which makes his base stats, which were 10,000, which was him holding back. I'm going to say he drops all his gear, straight up being ripped apart when he powered up. Though asking Bulma to make a few copies of his gi, which was fine, she made it. As he basically wears it like it's nothing, then he's unstoppable. And he is beating the ever-loving shit out of Vegeta with a 200,000 power level. With Vegeta's only having an 18,000 power level. Or an 1800 power level. Now, it's 180k. So it's an honest fight. Like, Goku is beating his ass, though. Raditz is easily shit-stomping his old commander. And easily doing it, I might add. While Gohan looks straight up at Tarble and beats his ass. In the end, they all hit the ground. But then, in Vegeta's last moment, since Goku powered out of Kaioken, since it was draining on him like hell, now he was out of it. He couldn't go back into it for a minute. He didn't have the strength to go back into Kaioken. So, what's happening? Well, the Z-Warriors grab him. Each taking out one of the legs. Krillin being the one to take out the left leg. Yamcha takes out the right. Tien takes out the right arm. And I don't really know. I guess Chaozu could try to take out the other arm. Or Piccolo would. Most likely Piccolo takes out the left arm. Or at least tries to when, surprisingly enough, Vegeta, who did get his ass whooped but not killed, straight up stabs. That's right, stabs. Using Yajirobe's sword. As he was able to grab it and stab Piccolo and split him in two. completely cutting Piccolo in half. Now, I'll be the one to say it wasn't exactly split in half, but it was damn near. As this is when Vegeta used his other arm, which he had broken free from Tien, and tore Piccolo clean in half. Started beating the shit out of Tien, killed Tien. Krillin and Yamcha were fist fighting against this giant ape while Goku was resting, when Gohan shot a giant mouth beam at Vegeta, burning his back. They all hit the ground. That's right, even Goku, and surprisingly enough, Raditz is the only who still is in his Zoro form. He's the strongest right now, stomping the shit out of Vegeta with 80,000 power level. In the end, Vegeta's about to die when Goku holds his brother's foot. Says stop. His brother, who basically kills the moon instantly at this point, said alright. Them all being back in base form, looking eye to eye with each other. That temporary moon has been destroyed, and they were all seeing each other. This is when, surprisingly enough, Vegeta launched a key attack at every one of them. Now, he's injured, so it's only about 10,000 power level, but this is enough to almost kill everybody. It straight up beats the living fuck out of most of the Z Warriors. The only ones who I'd say would be fine in taking it would be Goku. Basically, they would all be able to fine, but Chaozu would be killed in the process. At this point, Vegeta gave him and his team enough time to basically run over to their pods and vanish. They're in the sky. Goku's about to send out a comet. Raditz is about to send out a double Sunday at their ass, when Goku grabs his hand and saying, no, we don't need to do that. Walking over with his brother and Krillin, even his brother, Krillin, and Gohan walks over, hey, and talks to Bulma, saying, hey, Bulma, could you do me a favor? What's up? I need a spaceship. Yeah? Here's my old ship. What? Yeah, I guess I could go myself, but we want to go where Piccolo's from, which was actually Krillin's idea. Krillin saying there had to be another race of Piccolo, so they had to do it. Making the deal, they said sure. Saying that they could just use Kami's old ship, I guess, to repair it. They did this, and they weren't able to make another pod, but they were able to make the Capsule Corp ship, the gravity one, that Goku used in canon. Now, there is enough sensus at this point to have two people go in that ship, which I'm going to do. Those two being Goku and his brother, Raditz. They decide to go out there, and they do it. They're doing crazy well. They get there at the same point as canon, and basically everything's gone up as canon for them so far. When Goku gets out there, he wants the smoke, and he's beating the ass. When Ginyu takes over his body, though, is when we see a difference. Ginyu is trying to kill Goku. Is actually taking Goku's body, and Gohan lets all the rage out he has at his father, he's had this whole time, and straight up rips apart his dad. Injured, beaten, bloodied, bruised, to the point when Ginyu was straight up saying, switch, switch, oh dear God, switch. Goku getting in the way, taking all the pain from this, and then straight up having, surprisingly enough, instead of a frog getting in the way, which Vegeta was about to do, he straight up held Ginyu's old body in front of Ginyu. With a healed Ginyu, since they gave it a sensu bean, so it was a healed Ginyu. Ginyu saying, sure, yes, I get my body back. Thank you, Vegeta. Wait a second. Why did I just trust Vegeta as he went back into his old body when Vegeta snapped his neck? And Goku kind of helped with that. Now, at this point, we see a very, very terrifying sight. The Ginyu force is killed. Goku looks eye to eye with Frieza, though he knows he can't fight him. Though the rest of the Z fighters can. Even Raditz could at this point, and they all went fighting. When Goku, on Namek, rested in the healing chamber, got out, beat the ever-loving dog shit out of Frieza in his third form, and even his fourth form. He was winning. Goku barely being able to beat him, though. Then, in his fourth form, Goku unlocked Super Saiyan, seeing something unexpected. His best friend got killed. But it was anger. Not of much, but it was anger that someone killed his best friend. Now, he's more like Yujiro, so he doesn't feel as much connection, but he is easy to anger. And being that someone just killed his best friend, he would be angry enough to kill him. And he does. He killed the Space Tyrant. Or he was going to, when he basically they had to wish everyone off planet and everything, and that still happened. Then they revived the Holy Warriors in the time of peace. But Goku was still gone. Everyone else was at Earth, though, including Raditz. Raditz wanted to train like his brother, so he asked to go to Kame, to King Kai. King Kai saying, sure. They transport him to Snake Way, and they get all the way down to Snake Way. He actually admits it was kind of exhausting, and then grabs. He gets on there and looks eye to fucking eye with everybody. Has to do Goku's training on King Kai's planet, and surprisingly enough, doesn't get Super Saiyan from this, but does unlock a new form. He unlocks something he likes to call Power Up, which is not Kaio. It's kind of like Kaioken, but with the Saiyan's Ozaru form added in. Not quite. Like he basically just used the Ozaru form in his temporary moon state and control with Kaioken, which is what Goku did against Vegeta, but it's at a higher difficulty. Now, in this version, he gets right back before Frieza gets there. When Frieza and King Cold get there, we see Vegeta ready and everything. Surprisingly enough, this is when we see a future time traveler. One who was the exact same as canon. It was Trunks. Thing is, the timeline Trunks knows of, he's never heard of a Raditz. He's never heard of He never even heard of half this shit. He doesn't know who Raditz is. He definitely doesn't get why Gohan looks so mad at his father whenever his father shows back up. Because he's from a different timeline. He's not used to this shit. This is not what happened in his timeline. At this point, Raditz is surprisingly ready for this. And they talk. Goku talks with them and finds everything out. Even finding out that he's technically the strongest. And because he wasn't the only Super Saiyan. Though he found out that Gohan was a Super Saiyan and Goku was a Super Saiyan, but Gohan wasn't one yet. So he trains with him and actually unlocked something. Saying he'd be back in 3 years to train well for the androids. And they do. They train fucking crazy. And then they make it to the androids. But in this version, Vegeta still got cocky because he had Super Saiyan. But in this version, when Goku went out, there was 3 people that could match the strength of a Super Saiyan Goku. Technically 4. Number 1, Vegeta, obviously. Number 2, Raditz. Number 3, Piccolo, because he's on the same par. Now, the Z-Warriors want to get stronger, and they're not trying to be left behind. But Piccolo's technically the strongest out of them. And knowing that he's losing this, that they're all losing this fight, when 17 just beat the shit out of all of them at once, and 18 broke Vegeta's arm. Granted, 17 had a little more of a struggle, because he was not expecting what he had to fight. He had to deal with a Goku, well not Goku, but a Raditz, that was on par, which, yeah, he took out Piccolo pretty easily, but in this version he's dealing with Piccolo and Raditz, who are both about the same strength, beating on his ass, and he thinks he's about to lose, when 18 kicks the living shit out of Raditz. Raditz actually had an idea. He was a Super Saiyan, though. Barely hit it, though, so he did something unexpected. He made a fake moon, and he looked eye to eye with everybody. Now Krillin didn't jump in on this one like he did in canon, and actually got a kiss from 18 for this. This is when Piccolo does something really fucking stupid. Even Gohan's there, which he's not gonna fight. Making the fake moon, going into Super Saiyan as he does this, going into a Super Saiyan Ozaru form, which is hard as shit to do. Already painful on him. With a 500 times multiplier on his strength, making him unstoppable. Thing is, blood's already dripping out of his mouth. As he basically yells, Kaioken! Times 5. Thing is, he was only able to get one punch out before this happened, almost shattering 17's, like, entire form. Sending 17 flying. 17's laid out on the fucking ground, as 18 is the one who basically kicks him straight in the neck. Now, he had another punch ready for her, which he didn't have enough strength, so he wasn't able to go Kaioken. But this punch would easily hit her, when it's kind of stopped. You're wondering, why is it stopped? Because 17 crawled over to 16, saying, hey, that's Goku's brother, kill him. 16 grabbing Raditz's hand and stopping him. Now, this only got his ass whooped, but still, 16 was not expecting this. 16 and 17 and 18 all basically jumping Raditz, as Vegeta, with one arm broken, can't interfere. This is when, surprisingly enough, Krillin was about to rally the troops, which then sees that Raditz is dropped to his ass and laid to clean the fuck out. Then they all kind of vanish and go after seeing Goku. Then they basically, every one of the senzu beans are thrown. And this is when, straight up, surprisingly enough, Vegeta compliments Raditz, saying, you did amazing, Raditz. Now, I will say there was also Tarble and... There was Tarble there, who is technically a Super Saiyan. It wouldn't be a Super Saiyan at this point, but he'd be stronger and basically able to go into, like, a variation. He'd be a false Super Saiyan at this point. And Nappa, who isn't able to go into Super Saiyan yet. He's only able to go into false. So they go in there trying to do their best, but they can't do shit. Now, they get shit stomped just as much. When they all make it there, they are not happy with what they see. Sorry about that, guys. The entire Z Warriors go over and absolutely get they shit rocked. But Piccolo eventually will absorb Kami and Fuse and become strong enough to handle the androids on his own. Granted, he's on a stalemating power with 17. Then he walks in, and surprisingly enough, when Cell happens and the whole thing happens, all the other Saiyans can't do shit. And before Vegeta's even out the time chamber with his son, there is a brutal fear awakening in people. When semi-perfect Cell's about to do something, you hear King Ko-Ho, King Ko-Ho, or Tri-Beam if you would, as he's unleashing all these fucking Tri-Beams. And in the end, when Cell did get out of his, pit that King Ko-Ho kept hitting him in, another King Ko-Ho hit him right back in it. Right into another one. Cell was pissed. But then they had an idea. They weren't in there yet, but they could somewhat slow him down. As you hear, King Ko, go fuck yourself. Everyone wondering who the fuck just said that, when, surprisingly enough, Tarble, off the top rope, kicked the shit out of Cell. It was funny as hell. Literally coming off a mountain to kick him in the face. Cell saying, I'm going to kill you now. When, surprisingly enough, a kind of false Super Saiyan Nappa punches him in the mouth. Yeah, I'm going to kill you too. This is when Goku sees his... This is when Raditz is straight up slapping the android repetitively. It's a fight. The Z Warriors go to fight, all that. Yamcha's even there punching. They're not beating him, but they're fighting. Not good, but they're fighting. They even managed to somewhat beat him. Then they were going to win until they all kind of passed out at the same time, losing when Vegeta showed up. Surprisingly enough, the one to drag them all out was Yamcha. No, actually, yeah, Yamcha's the one who wound up dragging them all out and saying, yeah, do your thing. As Krillin was the one who walked over, was about to destroy the android, and decided to stomp on the remote, saying, fuck it, I'm gonna kill him. When 18 got absorbed, Krillin is a little bit pissed off, threw a Kienzon and started absolutely swinging on Cell, and isn't doing shit. Even Perfect Cell is... Sorry about that, guys. Perfect Cell is shit stomping him at his peak. He's not doing anything. So, Krillin, noting he's getting his ass whooped, he knows this. When the other Z Warriors who just recovered with senzu beans are all fighting, when they realize they can't do shit to Perfect Cell. All at once, they got their ass whooped. And they only had one more... They basically did the senzu bean thing. This is when, a little bit later, Goku walks out of the room with Gohan in Super Saiyan Mastered. This is when, surprisingly enough, Raditz would walk in, saying, "Look, we'll talk about this later." As he walked in there with Tarble. Surprisingly enough, Nappa wanted to go back, trying to take over old, like, Frieza Force civilizations, and left Earth, saying goodbye. Them all saying goodbye, you old man. Goodbye. As he went through the stars trying to search for, more Saiyans, but he wouldn't contact anybody when doing this. And he only made it to one planet, Vampa, where Broly was ordered to kill him. And yeah, Broly killed him. Super Broly, by the way. So yeah, it was brutal. An incredibly brutal beating. Alright, so this is when we get to see that, well, kind of a brutal fight. And by brutal, I mean absolute brutal. Since, yeah, Nappa just got his head torn off and placed in front of Paragus. Paragus laughing as the rest of his body was just thrown out. Now, Nappa was wearing fresh armor, like a clean pair that was fitting Broly, so Broly wore it. Thing is, it wasn't exactly armor. It was more of a Z-Fighter kind of uniform still. Now, they knew they would wait on him for returning, but they didn't know if Nappa would. Now, this is when all of the Saiyans decided to just keep training. This is when, after one day, the group walks out of the time chamber. Raditz in a perfect Super Saiyan to grade 4, and Tarble in the same form. But this is when we see that while Raditz is able to stay in it, Tarble is struggling a little bit more than him, just by a hair. Tarble then saying, "Let's go." Now, this is when he decided to walk out. Tarble walked back in there. After a little bit of time, he would go in there with Krillin, of all people. Tien and Yamcha would go in there next. Now, Krillin would train with him for a little while until he had perfected Super Saiyan. Whenever they walked out, Super Saiyan grade 4 was done. They walked out of the room in a very, very perfected state. And Krillin's base power was as strong as, well, a perfected Super Saiyan. And then Tien and Yamcha did the same thing. Goku asking both Vegeta and Trunks to go in there again. They said sure. They went 1 year in there again, walked out with their perfected variation of Super Saiyan. Not having Super Saiyan 2 yet, though. But they feel like they're at the breakthrough. This is when they walk out. This is when the Cell games would commence. Mr. Satan still got pimp slapped away. Goku actively putting up way more of a fight. Actively almost beating Cell on his own. But then saying that he was going to beat Cell into a bloody pulp. Or he was at least. But then he stopped. When he felt like he was out of breath. Even though he was barely stronger than it. He was weaker than his son. This is when he actually asked his son to take over for him. His son's thinking this was okay, like, whatever, they're still just warming up, right? Because he would think this is a warm-up. When he would hit Super Saiyan 2. Goku, instead of dying in this version, just teleported Cell to a blank vacuum in space. Or more precisely, he teleported him on an abandoned planet, and then hit him with a Kamehameha and vanished. Cell was absolutely destroyed, so was the planet they were on, but Goku made it back home. Cell instant transmissions back in his perfect form, saying, "Oh, you thought that was strong enough?" Which, yes, he still got kind of 18 kicked out. But in this version, a second kick is thrown, knocking 17 out of the body of Cell. Now, in this version, whenever they see this, they're about to kick one more. They're about to use one more swing when they stop. When Krillin, surprisingly enough, said, "Hey, kick him again," because he's back in perfect form, and he does it. Surprisingly enough, he does. He's in perfect form again, and then he goes back to regular form. With, surprisingly enough, it wasn't another 18 that popped out, though Krillin's a little upset about that. What does pop out is a shitload of goop. Sorry about that. A shitload of random-ass human goop that comes out of Cell. Cell tries blowing up again, but in this version, he straight up just gets with a giant blast, sending him flying. Now, this would have originally erased him, but it doesn't, since he was destroying himself anyway. Now, he just has one bare nucleus there. When he comes back in perfect form again, thinking he's all that shit. When Goku is enraged, seeing his son get beaten, he powers up. So does Raditz, using a father, son, and uncle Kamehameha. This Kamehameha straight up blinks out Cell completely. He's gone perfectly. Then they walk out. Cell is Cell is gone. He's destroyed. They make wishes on the Dragon Balls. 1, replace, heal, and revive everyone Cell killed. 2 was the whole would actually be to bring back 16. And 3 was an odd one. 3 was more akin to something odd. The third wish was used to locate Nappa. This is when it's revealed Nappa was killed by a Saiyan named Paragus and a Saiyan named Broly. Vegeta, hearing this, was about to go out there and take him. Whenever he's stopped by Goku, saying, "Look, I don't want revenge as much as you, but I understand what you want. You're pissed off." This being what drove Vegeta hit Super Saiyan 2 right after Gohan, since Gohan still hit Super Saiyan 2 first. And Goku and Raditz hit it just after him whenever they were enraged seeing their nephew and son be hurt. Now, this is when they note that there's no way Tarbell has Super Saiyan 2. He wants it, but he can't get it. When the first thing he did was try to get angrier about it, but he couldn't do it. Thing is, Tarbell has just as many S cells, which is what makes Saiyans able to power up, as anyone else, even more than most of them. So, he powers up a little bit and tries hitting Super Saiyan 2, but he can't. But then the 7-year time skip would happen. And then Tarbell, who has a Capsule Corp phone connection thing, where he can contact them, is back on his own planet, where he has home and family. He walks out. He goes outside and says hello. Being called, saying, "Hey, we need you to come back." "Why? There's another threat." "Alright, I'll be there about 5 minutes." "Actually, you know what? Let Goku send on your power and then come back." "Alright." As teleport. Boom. Goku, who's not dead in this version, still unlocked Super Saiyan 3, but no one knew about it. Vegeta thought he had revolutionized a form, thinking he had unlocked the Super Saiyan 3. Same thing for, surprisingly enough, Raditz, who's on another area of Earth. They were also ready to show off their new forms. They get there, and they all see each other's new form. They actually go to the fight. Raditz does, in this version, Vegeta still gets hit with the same beam, and the same kind of attack that turned him into Majin Vegeta. But in this version, his Super Saiyan 3 variation, which isn't barely able to be done, he's only barely able to go into it. He does it, and then tries beating Goku with that little power boost that made him where he can go into it easier. Then Goku shows that he could do it too, and saying it was his form originally, yada yada yada. And then Raditz said hold up, and his own Super Saiyan 3. And this was already enough power with them turning into Super Saiyan 3s to revive Boo. Thing is, the second Boo came out, he just gets shit stomped. Yeah. But the events of the Buu Saga would still happen. Super Buu was a demon. I mean, Buhan was a menace because Goku still forced Gohan to train, and even Goten. Because, like I said, he's like Yujiro. He treats them the way Yujiro treats his own kids. In other words, he beats the shit out of them and leaves. A lot. Now, this is whenever Goku comes back. Gohan, enraged, powers up, but only in Super Saiyan 2 since that's the form he chose. He doesn't go to a Super Saiyan 3. But what he does go into is he gets the Mystic form, which is stronger than Super Saiyan 3, so he never feels the need to go to it. He trains up to 2, then gets Mystic again. Goku says he needs to stay able to stay in Mystic all the time. Gohan, understanding and saying he should, so he does. And after the whole events, over the events of until Super, the training for 4 years would be perfect. Thing is, there was a little bit of a difference. Raditz wouldn't see a fit. He kept training regular Super Saiyan. While in this version, whenever Goku and Vegeta got God form, Raditz revealed a new form. He called it Super Saiyan 4. And its multiplier was on par, if not above God. It basically made him equal to Super Saiyan Blue. And they straight up called bullshit on this one. Gohan, showing that his mystic form, he basically strengthens it. And after a little while, the events of Super would happen. The universe 6 versus 7 would happen, and in this version, they just had Goku. They straight up wouldn't let Monaka, since Goku is still, and them are all ready to train. Though, they do seem, there is a threat that is above them. Whoever killed, they actually have asked Shinron if he thinks that they'd be strong enough to defeat Nappa. And Shinron has honestly said, no, they'd absolutely be destroyed on the process. Even if they all were to jump him. The entire Z-Warriors would have to jump him, and still they would lose. Right now. They keep with that thought of they need to train to beat this Broly person. Now, this is when Goku stacked Blue and Kaioken. And it took him a long time to do it, and he coughed out blood doing it. But he did, and beat Hit. Then, the next thing, going on, and on, and on, and on. And he would utterly decimate this fight. Z Fighters, done. Like, they're not even a fight. Thing is, Gohan's ultimate form is what he wanted to master. And we lead to the Tournament of Power with a Gohan stronger than he was in canon. Hell, stronger than he was in the tournament in the manga. Gohan did something unexpected. Raditz pulled out a new form, so did Vegeta and Goku. Goku, with pain doing it, went to Ultra Instinct. Vegeta, enraged, used some training he got from Beerus, and unlocked his new form, Ultra Ego, which basically matched Ultra Instinct, but in exact opposites. It was basically his own Hakai form, or called the Hakaishin form, or God of Destruction form, Ultra Ego. Yeah. Then, Raditz hit Super Saiyan 5, which was silver. Which was a silver Super Saiyan 4, basically. Utterly looking to decimate everyone. And then, Gohan's Beast form came out. Piccolo made a wish on Shinron before they went into the tournament. Turn him into his max potential, which was kind of a request by Beerus to make. So yeah, Orange Piccolo was a thing in the tournament. And it was an even one, and this made it where the entirety of Universe 7 was shit-stomping everybody. Now, we'd have to kick someone out of the tournament. I'm gonna say Tien. Because Krillin has done nothing but train. But then, who do we get rid of next? I'm sorry about that, guys. Some people think fucking hot rodding is fun. Right on my road. And this ain't even this is like a regular-ass road. Anyway, back to this what if. Now, this is when we get to see that Goku... Well, there was one more person, Tarble. Tarble was called for this tournament. And he utterly... He got there, and it shows this new form he has. They weren't surprised what it was. It was a Super Saiyan 3 variation that was on par, if not above, their own. Because he had mastered Super Saiyan 3, even training in 4. Showing them his Super Saiyan 4 transformation, Raditz showing his own, and they thought it was pretty cool. Them showing their god variations, which were even with it. This is when, surprisingly enough, he pushed past his limits, yelled in pain since he had talked to the Kai about getting his own potential unleashed, and he used an Ultimate Super Saiyan 4 that basically drained him everything he had, taking everyone out. Now this is when Universe 7 utterly shitstomps everybody. And Krillin was kind of taking out the tournament. Or, you know what, no, 18 was, since Krillin has stayed training this whole time to stay with the Saiyans. And he does. He fucking did. His base form is already stronger than most of their Super Saiyan forms. Krillin is even on par with Super Saiyan Blue. But Goku was treated sons like shit. So in the end, Gohan pumped him in the mouth at the end of the tournament and all that. Now, this is when we get to see the next part. Here's when the final conclusion would happen. Goku and Gohan would fight. Goku lost. So yeah, Goku loses that fight, and Goten said, hey, I want to beat Dad next. That's my fight as well. Hearing this, Gohan said, yeah, when you can beat Dad, you can. Until then, keep training. And they do. And then when Cell Max came back, Gohan looked at him, Goten looked at him, everyone looked at him, and they straight up pimp slapped him away and killed him. Then they're waiting on what's next. What's gonna happen next? It's not even a big deal. Like, they weren't even blast attacks. He straight up just got pimp slapped back and they destroyed him. The Moro and all those other arcs weren't even a struggle. But then the final fight. And I know, like, I'm way out of time with this, but, like, yeah. Let's get to the whole, Goku and them versus Broly, which would happen before the movies, but still. Now, once this happens, right after tournament, they see Broly, and they surprisingly see Nappa's head in the hand of Paragus, with its tongue stuck out, dead completely, eyes rolled back and everything. It's been years, but they still remember it. As you see a raging Vegeta hitting his own he hit his Hakaishin form and destroyed Paragus. But actually sending him to hell to meet up with the guy he had killed. Broly, they're beating the shit out of him. This is when, surprisingly enough, the wish to send him back to Vampa was made. And out of everyone, Chilai straight up said, hey, he wasn't in control. What do you mean he wasn't in control? That shock collar on his neck. That's what that was? Yes. It's what forced him to kill the one called Nappa. I apologize, but it happened. They said, alright, and what's he going to do to attend? Well, I don't know, but he'll do something. I'll make sure he does something. Now, when Black Frieza comes back, this is when Broly gets his redemption arc. He socked the shit out of Black Frieza with a shot to the mouth. Then, Black Frieza's ready to kill him. And in the end, it was just a fist fight, with all of them eventually defeating Black Frieza, and straight up saying, enough. We have ended this. As they are kind of all, sorry about that guys, say, that's it. They're ending it all.